guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Karimash, and if you're new here, you're most welcome. So be sure to subscribe. The subscription button is just somewhere here. And if you're watching over and over again without subscribing, kindly subscribe, guys. And yes, thank you so much for keeping it here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And so on today's episode, I'm going to be discussing or giving you guys the story of when I started med school. So as usual, guys, let's get started.
Be good to me. I'll be good. Promise me you'll be good to me.
So the year was 2018 when I started studying medicine. No, 2019. Yes. Oh my gosh, I've grown so old. Yes, it was 2019, around September when I started medical school. And let me tell you guys, we had been told that pre-med was the only year where we could have fun and enjoy, because there was so much time by the way in pre-med. We used to finish school around 12 and just chill. There are days where we never had school. So our seniors had told us that, guys, when you go to first year, now this is a real deal. You know, this is the real deal. There's no more joking, no more free days, no more I don't know this and that. Like, it was going to be intense. And so we were all prepared. Like, my roommates and I were just prepared to start this first year. And then there were others also who had said that, you know what, this is the time when we're going to know who are the real geniuses of classes. Because like I told you guys, in pre-med, it was just, it was muy chilled. It was very, very chilled. Like, even the evaluations were not as serious as such. You know, those rats that I told you guys about, they were not that serious. So we had been warned and told that, you know, in first year, it's going to be tough. So put your best foot forward, and we're going to know who are the most clever people amongst you guys. Now, those people who study and those who don't study. So it was going to be hot. So I remember we started school, and like we started with subjects like embryology and anatomy. I can't remember the others which were in first year, but those were like the main ones. Oh yeah, and something called CTT, cells, tissues, and something else. Yeah, I've forgotten, guys. I'm old. So the first day, like, we got into class, these people already, one thing I love about the Cuban system of education, and I found out since pre-med, was that these people are very, very organized, and they have the objectives there. Like, they tell you, they have a plan from week 1 to the last week. So this is what we're going to be doing in week 1, and they break it down for you. In week 1, these are the topics we're going to cover, these are the number of assessment tests that you're going to have, these are the number of this and that you're going to have, this is a holiday. Like, they have everything of theirs planned out from the beginning of the semester to the end of the semester. So day 1, we got there, and every teacher is just giving us like their plan. And I remember I was just like, what, this is going to be so tough, because they just start saying, you know, and after 3 weeks you have your exams, your main exams, after I don't know how many weeks you have your closing exams, and we are very strict. Guys, it was so threatening. You see, the way when you're starting something, it's always very scary. It's always very, very scary. But hey guys, it was intense, because as soon as we were done with that, and they told us like their rules and regulations, not coming to school without uniform. But then here in Cuba, we put on uniform. So no coming to school without uniform, no, you don't come to school late, you don't do this and that. Like, there were so many rules and regulations that we were not that accustomed to in pre-med. Now in 2018, guys, we started like the first, I'm going to call them conferences. Those are the first lectures. Yeah, we started our first lectures, and I remember these teachers were talking so fast, and they were like, no phones, no nothing, like, just concentrate, and you sit there, and at the end of every lecture you asked questions about what you've talked about. And hey, let me tell you, if you do not know the answer, you get it's called a DOS, you get a 2. And so the system of evaluation, I don't know if I had mentioned it in my previous video about when we started medical school, pre-med, that is, like, they have daily evaluations, and then they also have the random assessment test that you're going to have. And so all that together with your midterm exams and your final exams, they give you your final, what is not a final? Your final results. Yes, your final results. So all that gives you your final results. So if you are asked a question in class and you get DOS in the first time, DOS the second time, DOS the third time, I don't know what, like you accumulate DOSes. At the end of it all, your results are going to be either an average or just a good, depending on how good that prof is. So we used to pay attention in class. And by the best advantage was that there was no data back in the day, guys. Remember, there was no data as such. So we used to pay attention in class, and then you just pray. You just sit there. When you just see the lecturer has ended like the slide, and they're like, okay, thank you so much. So now on to the questions, or something like, we are now done with the lecture. Now the questions. You're just there crossing your fingers. You're just there crossing your fingers like, oh my God, please don't call me. Please don't call me. Please don't call me. Because you're put in a group of, by then we used to be like 4 groups, and each group has like 25 people. So let's say almost 75 to 100 people. And they just call out your name. Like, Karimash, stand up. And you're just like, guys, it's either character development where your courage is going to be formed, or you just freeze. So those days were really amazing. So we got the hang of it, but like I'm telling you guys, nobody ever wanted to be called. But of course, there are always those students who want to be called and to answer, some with bad motives and others with good ones, because there are others who just want to show off, and then there are others who genuinely, they're really intelligent students. So after like the first lectures, and like we got accustomed to the lectures and how they are, now we got to like our first evaluation. Guys, the way let me just explain to you how this thing works. In your first evaluation, it's called either a classe practica or a seminario. So I'm going to use the what we call seminario. So in seminario, it's you're already told, like maybe if we've had our lecture on Monday, you're told, and next week Wednesday we're going to be having a seminario on what we've learned today on Monday. So you basically have the whole week. But you also know students. You think over the weekend you're going to study. No, over the weekend you enjoy life, you go out. During the week you also have other conferences, other lectures to study. So basically, the next time you're studying this seminario, which is on Monday, is like Sunday night. Or if by the grace of God you have nothing to do, or you're not going out, also on Saturday. So we get to class, and now this time the conferences or the lectures are always held in like groups of 4. So that means there are like almost 75 to 100 students, let's say that. And then the seminarios, they're now held individually, like per class. So if you're 1.1, it's just 1.1 A, 1.1 B, 1.1 C, 1.1 D. It's not like 1.1 A to 1.1 D. Everyone goes to their own separate classes. And you have to come with the knowledge in your head. You hand in your phones, you put your phones like at the front, and then now the teacher is now asking. If you've learned, for example, something, just a certain topic, they start asking, so what is this? And someone has to, it's either they go by they have like a list. So they just be chilling, and then they're like, okay, we are starting our seminary. I hope you're prepared. These are our objectives for the day. You must have known A, B, C, D, E. So, are you guys going to raise your hands, or is anyone going to answer, or I just go ahead and call anyone? And depending on the class that you're in, there's some people who are always going to raise their hands, or sometimes the prof is just going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to go with the list number. So they're just chilling, and then they take the list, and they're like, number 10, Karimash, stand up. Hey, guys. I'm telling you, even if you know your stuff, even if you always know your stuff, you're always tensed. So you have to stand up, and then she tells you, okay, explain this and this and this, and you start explaining. And if the teacher starts talking or adding other points to you, you just know that you're moving from a 5, which is the highest, and you can move all the way to a DOS. And if you, of course, you say something wrong, that's a DOS. So whenever we used to have seminarios, it always used to be like, oh my gosh, like you just feel like there's so many butterflies inside your stomach, because oh my goodness, those profs are not laughing with you. They're not there to joke, by the way. It's like, you guys, you had a whole week or you had 2 days to study for this thing, so I hope you've studied. And they were not lenient, they were so tough. So you had to be in class and you know your stuff. And after now the oral part of it, now we do the written part of it. As I had mentioned, things called preguntas escritas. So you do your preguntas escritas, guys. They're just like 5 questions. 5 questions. But if you did not study, or sometimes you've studied everything, but you do not remember, or sometimes you just confused, like things just happen. Hey, so by the you do your preguntas escritas like in like 5 minutes, and then they give you the results either there and then, like you discuss the answers. So by the time you're getting out of class, you know what you've gotten. And remember, these things we do them like almost every week or twice per week or frequently. So by the time you're getting to the end of the semester, they already know like your daily evaluation is like a 3. So that means in your midterm exams you have to perform great, and in your final exams you also have to pass, because if you don't pass, you're going to do supplementary exams. So here we have supplementary exam 1 and supplementary exam 2. So that was how it was like for the evaluation. So guys, we used to study. Hey! If I told you guys in pre-med people used to study, we got to first year, everyone just changed their studying mechanism. Everyone was either in the library, group discussions. People used to stay the whole night studying for seminarios, studying for classe practicas. Classe practicas are also like a part of those daily evaluations. Like you just have to be on your toes all the time, and these profs, they are not joking with you. It's not like you know what, you're just going to say whatever you want and then they're going to be like, you know what, let me just give you a 5. Nope. They were very strict. So people used to study, and that's when now I discovered like, hey, people can actually study. When we started first year, I was now like, by there I'm a joker, because for me it's like I've studied 2 hours, we are done. But other people will study like the whole night. People don't come to the rooms until the following day. I'm just like, what? Hey. So I also discovered new methods of studying, and I became better at my studying just by observing my other roommates, how they used to study, and I just adopted better studying habits, I'd say that. And then we finally got to the part of examinations. And guys, I have never seen this in my whole life before, because in my country they always give like just one exam paper for the whole class. But here in Cuba, they give like 2 or 3 or 4 different examination papers in the same class. So we have like topic A, topic B, topic C, topic D. So depending on where you're going to sit that day, on the day of exams, and that paper, like that's your topic that gets you, well, you have no other choice and you cannot change. So you'd find that some people, they get a paper that you know the answers to that paper, but you don't know the answers to your own paper, and vice versa. So sometimes you just not fail exams, but you'll just be there scratching your head and just being like, oh dear Lord, oh God, please, like just help me to download the answers of this my paper. Because guys, whether you don't know, there are times you get an examination paper that you don't know the answers to your own paper, but you know the answers to someone else's paper. Hey, it was so hard. I'm telling you, it is here in Cuba that I learned that you have to pray for the seat that you're going to sit in when it comes to examination. Pray, because the examination paper that's going to get you could be either very difficult or very easy. So depending on where the Holy Spirit is going to guide you to sit down, you better pray. You better pray, because it's not easy. Can you imagine how bad someone feels whenever you know that your friend has, maybe you see the teacher is distributing the papers, and then you can really say like, I know the answers to this question. Or later on after the examinations, you're discussing with your friends like, which topic did you get A, what were the questions, and then all the questions that your friend is telling you, you know the answers to them, but your own paper, no sabes nada, you don't know anything. Cuba taught us, I'm telling you, it was a learning curve. From the beginning, it was just a learning curve. Also here in Cuba, you are allowed to have 20% of being absent. Yes, so in every subject throughout the whole semester, you're given a 20% chance of being absent. That means you can either choose to just be absent out of your own will, or of course in case you're sick, or just any emergency that comes up, like maybe your diplomats come to visit you and you have to miss school and all that. all that, like they take into consideration everything, you missing classes, your daily performances, your, hey guys, it was very very strict, and all that will give you up to your final examen, hey, final nota, that is like your final result. Yes, so it was such a tough environment to adjust. It was very a bit tough because, like I've said, we were babies and now we are grown, and this was very serious. But one of the things that I'm going to applaud publicly about the Cuban system of education is how it is organized. At least for first year and second year, when you start, there's just so much organization, being on time, wearing like the correct school uniform. They're very strict on, you know, how you understand things, and the best thing is that they teach you to understand. The Cuban lecturers will be like, don't study this one is not going to come in exam, and you don't need it for life. So there's no need for you to start cramming a lot of things that, you know, they just occupy space in your brain. For what? For what now? No reason. So they'd always be like, this is an objective for life. This is an objective for life. Like they are so organized, and I really, really love that fact. Like when you're starting first year and second year, so organized, they're amazing. It's just those evaluations that make you like you know, once in a while. But generally that was it about first year. I've forgotten to mention, we used to have physical education, PE. Imagine it. Hey, imagine like PE. If there was a subject that I used to hate, was physical education. And then you're supposed to run around a field, you're supposed to, I don't know, jump, it's called high jump or something, some jumping, you're supposed to sprint. I used to be like, bro. So they used to hear that I'm from Kenya, and they're like, oh, you're from Kenya, then that's good, you know, we know you guys because of running. Oh my goodness, I'm sure you're going to do great in this education, physical education. I was going to say educación física. Yeah, we know you're going to do great in physical education. And I'm just like, bro, I hated games in high school. I just used to go for them because those teachers used to force us to go for games. And then I went to a school which was located on a hill. So every game time we had to run around, like up that hill. So you want to tell me, I come again in the university and then you want to tell me again to run? Like, am I Eliud Kipchoge the goat? No. Am I Rudisha? No. The fact that I'm from Kenya doesn't mean that I can run. I'm not good at running at all. I can't run for my life. Not sprinting, not anything. And that's very ironical because my mother was such a sportish person. Same to my father. But oh well, you gain some, you lose some. So for me, sporting genes, no, nothing at all. So we used to do that physical education. And then remember, they put like physical education in the morning. And then immediately after physical education, you have a lesson, like maybe let's say that anatomy. And the teacher had said that you're not supposed to come to class 1 minute later. By the way, guys, in that school we had a bell. And schools and classes to start at 8:30. So if you get to class at 8:31, the doors are closed and you can't complain, you can't say anything to the teacher. It's like that. It's like that. We are done, gone, done, dusted. Yes. So imagine you've put physical education and it was oh my god. You put physical education in the morning, and then that's the day you also decide to have an evaluation on physical education. That means I have to go and run around a field, I don't know how many meters, in less than how many minutes. After that, I have to go and shower. And remember the water timetable, guys, remember the water timetable. So I have to go and shower, then I have to run back to class and be there before the next class, before the teacher closes the doors. Hey guys, it was hectic. That part of physical education was my worst. My worst subject in first year med school and second year med school was physical education. Because me, no. Guys, do you know when we started first year, officially, the teacher will get inside the class and we had to stand up. The teacher will be like, the lecturer will be like, good morning. Either the lecturer is already inside, or once the bell rings and all of you are inside, the lecturer will stand up and be like, good morning. And you know what you had to do? You had to stand up. All of you stand up and be like, good morning, lecturer. How are you guys doing? We are doing good. Yes, you can sit down. Ha! Guys, as a Kenyan, not in high school, not even in primary. I think it's only lower primary where people do that. Where like when the teacher gets in, they're always like, "Good morning, class. Good morning, teacher so and so. How are you? We are fine, thank you. How about you? I'm also fine. Sit down. Thank you, teacher." Huh? I come here in Cuba, a whole adult. I'm told that I have to stand up for a lecturer because it's a sign of respect, and if you sit down, it's a sign of disrespect. I'm just like, what? So, guys, it took me a long time to adjust and wrap my head around the fact that at my age in university, I have to stand up for a lecturer. Oh my gosh. And sometimes, like, we used to have either, like, like maybe the director of the school, the chancellor of the school, or the vice chancellor, they used to come, like, to classes to maybe say hi or those things. And you had to stand. You had to stand. I remember there was a day like this senior lecturer came to my class when it was just my class alone. And all of us, we sat down. All of us were just chilling. We were just seated and we were listening to the lecturer. And the lecturer stood up. And when the lecturer stood up, he was like, stand. And we were looking at each other like, why are we supposed to stand? Because our class was majorly, all of us were foreigners. So we were looking at each other like, why is this person telling us to stand because this other lecturer has walked in? And all of us, we just sat down because we were like, we don't understand. Like, everyone looked at each other and we were like, nope, us, we're not going to stand. After that senior lecturer left, that lecturer was like, guys, do you know how disrespectful it is for you guys not to stand up when this senior lecturer was here? And we were like, Prophet, us, we didn't know, because in our countries, well, I think only when the president walks in is when you stand. I don't know. Plus, who even greets students and expects them to stand? Because those things, we left it personally for me when I was in like grade 4. Grade 4 is when we stopped standing up for teachers, because our teachers, by the time we're getting to like grade 5 and 6, were like, guys, you're wasting so much time standing. You're wasting so much time standing, having to push your desks and I don't know, standing up, then pulling them back and sitting down. So our teachers were like, guys, no more standing. I come in, I just say hi to you guys, you sit down. In high school, nobody, my class teacher used to be like, why are you people standing? Why are we even greeting each other? I want to find you guys busy studying. So that was like the mentality that I had. But I come here and it's like, stand, and you stand and you have to be proper, attention, like a police. Ha. Guys, it was tough to adjust. Up to date, by the way, I find it so hard when someone comes inside like my class, or a teacher stands and starts teaching and says hi and we have to stand. I'm always just like, oh God, oh Lord, please don't tell me that I have to stand. Don't tell me that I have to stand. Why? But it's because of already the systems that have already been ingrained inside my head that generally we don't stand, except like a dignitary, that's when they show up and you all stand. But just a lecturer. But guys, I had to adjust. Up to date, I'm still adjusting, by the way. That's one aspect of my life that I'm still adjusting to, the fact that I have to stand up to say hi, to greet a lecturer whenever they come in. And yeah, guys, that was really tough. The Kenyan in me, culture plays such a big role, because the Kenyan in me is always just like, oh God, not again. But I have to do what I have to do, because like I said in all my previous videos, I am not in my country. I have to accustom myself to the rules. So that was also something else that I had to really adjust when I was in first year. Yeah, so guys, that was basically it about starting first year. And of course, there are so many mini stories in between there that I'm going to be sharing with you guys as time goes by. But in the meantime, yeah, just keep it here, and we're going to have a fun ride in Kariland. So yeah, until the next time, guys, as usual,
Be
kwaheri.
good to me.